so I
Well,
can kind of have.
we want to talk about you.
Okay,
We want to
great.
celebrate you. We want to talk about ProZone, what you got going on. You
Hmm.
know, just ask Coach. What we do is we celebrate ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Hmm.
And right now we have you, Matt Nochumson, who is a sophomore at University of Pittsburgh, and special place in my heart for me because you play high school basketball for me. And I just want to celebrate you and talk about some of the great things you're doing at the University of Pittsburgh and also with your work at ProZone.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to get this going. I always knew you had Just Ask Coach. I had the tease ever since I was a kid. So it's cool. It's cool to see our relationship like growing ever since like you got the coach player and now like it's you kind of been my mentor ever since a kid for basketball and now growing into a young man or even like an adult now. It's like just great to talk to you about this stuff, have an opportunity to do something like this.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you, man. Like I said, we want to celebrate you. We want to celebrate ordinary people doing extraordinary things and talk about your experience at ProZone. What is ProZone, first of all? Let people know
Uh
what that.
okay, so Pros on the Agency is an agency I've been working for a year and almost a half at this point, or a little bit less than a year and a half. And they essentially are a sports agency in Pittsburgh, and they represent players and who are at the collegiate level, high school level, like NIL deals and stuff. And then they also represent pros and across three sports where it's baseball, football, basketball. I'm currently the scouting and data analyst for the basketball division. And yeah, I work with Alex Kaminsky, president owner of ProZone. He's a great guy. I got connected with him actually through a professor, and yeah, just got an opportunity to intern. Great guy, liked what I did. Just saw growth for me, and I saw growth with the ProZone and just making stuff happen.
All right, so tell me, how did you get involved in ProZone and what made you want to get into the scouting, um, athletic field?
Yeah. Okay. I guess first to answer your first question, like, so, played high school basketball, got slight recruitment, but, never really like made that big jump. But I've always been involved with basketball, as you know, and just like love the sport, love the game. Like grew up playing it, like grew up around it. All my best friends are because of basketball. So, you know, I wanted to be in that field. I knew I saw myself, in that industry where like, I can connect with people and help other people out. And yeah, that's really why I wanted to become really on the way to becoming a sports agent, a basketball agent specifically. And the way I got this opportunity was at Pittsburgh, it's a pretty big university, a lot of good connections, there's no basketball team here, but we got good, semi-good college basketball team and the year rough, but we're gonna bounce back next year. But besides the fact, I had a professor, shout out Dr. Epitropoulos. He was a great guy. Loved this class. Just went up to him, just gotta do what I gotta do, network. I was like, yo, do you know anybody in the industry? And mind you, this is January of 2024, or maybe just December, like right between the gap between first and second semester. And he was like, yeah, I know a guy. Got in contact with a man named Alex Kaminsky. That's the president owner of ProZone. He went to Pitt himself. He did 4 years. He also went to law school there. He was an adjunct professor at Pitt teaching about NIL stuff, which is pretty cool. And so yeah, I got an interview with him over the phone. You know, gave him a little charm. Got a in-person interview, and then I started interning for the basketball division. And what's it called? Uh, a position opened up. He saw opportunity for me to grow into a bigger role, offered me a better position, and why not? I'm trying to become a sports agent. So the reason, like, that builds off of what everything I'm doing with this agency. I really want to help and grow with this agency. I really I really see the potential, and not only for myself, but just something bigger than me, which is something I love to be a part of. Like I said, basketball, team game, like you can't ever do anything on your own. So like right now, I'm just putting in the dirty work, getting on my hands and knees, like pause, but just doing all the stuff that I can do to help out the agency, you know. And
Pause.
so
You definitely from Philly.
Yeah, I could. I know it's a podcast. I'm very professional, but you
I
can't.
got you. No, it's all
You
good.
know.
It's all good. Hey, listen, there's a few things that you said that really piqued my interest, and that's one of the reasons why, I wanted to do the Just Ask Coach podcast
Mhm.
is to let people know that people being successful behind the scenes, some of the things that they've done. And
Mm.
you said that you went to the professor and asked him questions about some of the things that you wanted to do and if he knew anybody. Where did you get that idea to network and reach out, which I think a lot of people, a lot of college students miss out on while they're in
Mhm.
college? What gave you
Yeah.
that motivation to go talk to your professor?
Well, at the end of the day, like again, everything's going to tie back to basketball. My whole life has been surrounded by basketball. So, trying to get recruited and stuff like, you know, being from Ruston, yeah, we have a good rep, but we had Baruch before me, but at the same time, I was a sophomore, so the recruitment was light for me. I didn't really know nobody. It was hard. I was the first like real like athlete early in my family, so I learned how to network with other people, and yeah, just learned how to like reach out to coaches and stuff, and what's it called? Just learn how to cold call people, cold email, follow up. It's a lot of the small things. And fortunately, I was raised around, like hardworking parents, and I saw it firsthand, like with my own dad, networking stuff, making phone calls, and like, so I realized he told me this, which I really like resonate with and live my life about is like, he doesn't believe in luck. It's the opportunity you set yourself up with that gets you that lucky shot. You know what I mean? You
Yep.
set yourself up, and it's like, if you do the right things and you're really trying to pursue it and you take it with the passion and the energy, things are gonna happen, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be a sports agent, everybody wants to pursue something, but at the end of the day, how bad do you want to go get it? Because if you want to go get it, it's those people, that really make that first move, that first jump, and that's really what I've been harping on right now. I mean, I'm only 20 years old and like just again just trying to make as many moves as possible to build my personal brand, build ProZone, build everything around me, because I just want to all grow together.
And Matt, that's one of the things that I wanted to have you on to talk about, just your, motivation and your drive to not wait and go out and get it. And you talked about it a little bit with your parents,
Uh,
but I also see hardworking parents and young people still
mhm.
not willing to put themselves out.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Yeah, like again, when I was younger, my dad lived in the city, my mom lived in Westchester, two completely different environments. You look at just like, suburbs, urban, that, and then you also think about like the basketball environment, two different kinds of games, two different, you know, kinds of styles of basketball, and so like I always learned how to go out and talk to people. I just learned how to make friends. I'm a very outgoing guy. I can make a conversation with anybody. And I guess like that's why I wanted to become an agent because I know in this business you got to learn how to make connections. You got to learn or know how to you know, being able to present yourself, make show your value, but also, help other people out and benefit yourself. So like really like I don't know how to say it, coach. I'm just naturally gifted. I really appreciate like what I was given. Thank again. I'm always helping my parents for my like what I have so far, and it's like yeah, like I just was fortunate enough to to be able to go out and I guess for any advice for people that like are questioning it at the end of the day, like I was thinking about what's the worst that's gonna happen. Okay, let's say you mess up, right? Well, if you mess up, that's a learning lesson. That's not a failure because if you're not failing, you're not trying. That's what I really believe. And
Right.
like, you got to accept failure because like again, sports, basketball, you got to accept like is sometimes it's not going to be your day. And you knew this too. Like with me personally as a player, I used to harp on mistakes, get in my head mentally. And I guess like, growing into a young man, you smile because you know it too. You would be like, just stop, just get out your feelings, just play the game. You know what I mean? And that's why I started learning. Like, unfortunately, um, I started figuring that out at when I got to college, and yeah, I was just like, look, you're gonna have off days, you're gonna have bad calls, you're gonna have times when you reach out to a player and they just dub you, they're not gonna talk to you, or even an agent. they below you or something, you know. But at the end of the day, you have to understand your value, your goals, what you want to accomplish, and you can't let that like you can't have tunnel vision, but at the same time, you can't let that negative energy affect your positive energy because at the end of the day, you got to conduct yourself with that positivity that radiates all around you, and then you see where it goes, you know.
Hey, Matt, tell me why, out of all the universities in the United States, why did you choose the University of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I got I got scholarships from a couple of other schools, College of Charleston, Temple. Let's see where else. Colorado and Penn State. And yeah, frankly, like those schools, one, I didn't want to be back at home. I wanted to get away, but like I didn't want to go across the country. Colorado was too far for me. And also I just feel like I grew up in the suburbs, but then I also grew up in Philly and like I really I love the city life. Like I'm like I'd like to say I'm like a city boy. Like, fishing, hunting, not for me. You know, biking around the city, walking around, taking the bus down to downtown or uptown. Like it's cool. Like that's I like the pace of I move with that kind of pace. So like going to Pittsburgh, I saw opportunity not only for academics because they're like recently, especially like they've been a highly competitive academic school. Have a good reputation, which is like always comes first. And then the location, 4.5 hours away from home, perfect location where like I could do my own thing, but at the end of the day, I could take a bus. I could take a mega bus back home if I really needed to. I don't really gotta take a plane. My parents are still accessible; they can drive and come see me, or vice versa if I ever get a car. But and then yeah, and then the basketball side of things was I tried to walk on to the Pitt basketball team. I knew again I built that connection with the front office of the Pitt men's basketball team. And thankfully, shout out to Brian Regan. He's the director of basketball operations there. Great guy. Again, cold emailed him, send him my film, send him my grades. One advice I would have for all people, especially athletes, you got grades, man, you'll get an opportunity. You play hard, you got grades, they'll give you a look at least. And
Like it.
so like what's it called? I got the opportunity, talk to him. I actually was touring Pitt in the summer, and yeah, I sat down with him, had a good conversation with him, and he told me to be a manager, and I'm like, what? A manager? I've been starting for like 2 years now at this point. Like I've been getting recruited, and I'm be a manager. Like I want to walk on. But yeah, like, and then he gave me an opportunity, he gave me access to the gym, and, gave me opportunity, met coaches, players, worked out with a couple of the guys, and yeah, like that was a huge reason to go to Pitt.
Mhm.
It was like I always wanted to play college basketball, but I'm not going to pay 70,000 a year at liberal arts school to play Division III basketball. That's just not for me, at least. It wasn't worth it for me. But seeing that opportunity, and it goes back to the sports agent thing where like everybody wants to be a Division I basketball player. Even a walk on is a hard thing to do. But the day I knew myself and was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all in with like doing that specifically. And I thought Pittsburgh, I was set up great. My dorm, unfortunately, was far away from campus, but it was right up the street from the gym. So I would
Okay.
walk up all the time. And yeah, like I like Pittsburgh a lot. It can get cold, really windy because it's like
Mhm.
kind of the Midwest. But other than that, like great people around me. I mean, my roommates are like my brothers, and like
Mhm.
I really like the people here. You can really grow as a person because again, it's not just the campus. There's a whole city around you. So like you really, at least for me in my experience so far, I've just been kind of like, finding myself, finding my niche, outside of, professional world and basketball, just growing, as a person, which I love.
Right. So anybody that's interested in walking on to any basketball team, not just as a Division I basketball team, what
Mhm.
advice would you give them?
Oh, you gotta be a dog. You gotta be, so for me, they gave me access to the gym, and I was gonna be a manager. And first of all, you gotta be willing to do whatever it takes. Like even as a sophomore, I remember like just being like, I knew my role was play defense. Like you go in the corner, on offense, I'll go in the corner. If I'm open, I'll shoot it. But like at the end of the day, I knew my role. And so like being a walk on, you have to be the best teammate, the hardest worker. You have to do all the dirty work the best. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be at the top, and you have to accept it. And I accepted that. You have to accept your role, and I think that's a big thing. But if you do get an opportunity, like I said before, grades, you gotta have a good grades. You gotta have good grades. It is what it is, man. You're carrying that GPA. You're a walk on. You're still part of the team, but you're very important for that team GPA, and it's huge for the team. It helps a lot with like funding and stuff like that. Overall reputation, not only for the players but the coaching staff. It's serious, and I think one, like grades, and then two, being a dog, and then three, just being persistent at. I think one thing that I gained a lot of respect from the coaching staff there and the players was that first I was going to be a manager, and then unfortunately these new rules came out as I became a manager. Literally had a meeting. They said if you become a manager, you lose your eligibility to play at that school. And I was faced with a dilemma, and they said, "Yo, you have access to the gym, work out, get ready. You'll be at the summer camp this year, like working with the team, and then we'll see what goes from there." Like, they never made promises to me, but the fact that they never made a promise to me and gave me access to the gym, and I'm up there at 5 in the morning, going to lift, then going back at night, like at 8 o'clock, because again, dorm was right down the street. I got nothing else to do. And like I'm trying to grind and make this position, and they respected that. And then the summer came around, yeah, and kept busting my ass. I mean, like you also gotta be in great shape. Division one level is crazy. Like even just working out with players, like it's a different level. It's a different level. And that's something I like. I like to have a challenge, especially something I'm passionate about. And yeah, like you really just gotta separate yourself and show that like, you're different. You want this for not just yourself, but for the team. Because at the end of the day, it's a team sport, you know? And I remember the first couple times I played against players like KJ Marshall, he was actually a walk-on at one point. And shout out KJ. He got a scholarship, starting to get a little bit of time. And I came in as a freshman. I'm like, let me guard you. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, bro, I'll play defense. Play defense on for an hour. Didn't touch the ball once. That's the kind of stuff you gotta be willing to do. That's the kind of stuff that if you don't want it, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna resent that position. You're gonna be tired. School is hard. Like school is hard. If you go to a high academic school, any school, but like especially going to high academic school, it can be difficult. And so like if you really want it, go after it and go all in. Because at the end of the day, worst thing is gonna happen. They say no. Fortunately, that happened for me. It didn't work out. But I know at the end of the day, I look back at it and I'm like, I did everything I could to like put myself in a position. It just didn't work out. But look at me now, like I have connections now to the Pitt basketball. Everything works out for a reason.
Yep, definitely. So listen, let's talk about ProZone.
Okay.
Your position there, your opportunity there, and like we mentioned earlier, ProZone is an agency that represents athletes.
Mhm.
All athletes of every sport. And tell me a bit about what you do there.
So what I do there, I'm a scouting data analyst there for the basketball division. And essentially, recently, right now, I've been helping, help build like scouting reports, recruiting in terms of like, we're a smaller agency, so we're still trying to, figure out our niche in terms of how our recruitment goes. But we've represented guys in like all across the world, like Taiwan, China, Mongolia, Dominican Republic, Mexico. So we have the experience in the FIBA world. And even so in the NIL world where we have Scoop Smith, he's a dual sport athlete, and RJ Sledge, he's a 1,000 point scorer here in the area of Pittsburgh. So like what I'm doing is I'm gathering up all this information, right? I gather up all this information about, um, their game, their personal lives, how they do, who they surround themselves with. Because at the end of the day, like we want to conduct ourselves with like professionalism. And I think also like you have to make sure that, people are surrounded by good people, because you don't want people to get caught up. And I think that's also a reason why I want to get in this business is because I want to look out for people. I've always saw myself as a leader, and I feel like when you get put in a certain opportunity, sometimes you can be blind to the fame, you know, because it's like everyone's gassing you up, everybody's a yes man to you. And I think you need people in your corner that are really going to keep it real for you and like look out. And I think ProZone is a great example of that because we're realistic with our clients, but we also put them in the best opportunity or best position for them to succeed. You know what I mean? And we conduct ourselves like in a family environment in terms of like we really want to connect and help you in all like facets in terms of not just like basketball, but then you're also your personal life, you know. And so right now I'm just kind of learning the kinks of like this whole thing because again I'm very young, I'm very raw. So again, like I'm doing the dirty work, just recruiting, And excuse my roommate. I think he might be sick. But what's it called? Yeah, just doing the dirty work. Um, it's fun though. Like everything that I do for ProZone is not something that's like a chore to me. Just like
Mhm.
basketball and training. Like I want this. So it goes back to my point. Don't pursue something that you're like, man, like you really gotta like if you really want it, you gotta work for it. Because at the end of the day, there's 20,000 other Matts that are trying to be, sports agents. So it's like right now I'm looking at myself as how do I differentiate myself and how do I put myself in a position to help ProZone and myself, differentiate from the competition.
Right. So I know a lot of people are looking for agents, looking for representation for NIL or to play professional. What attracts ProZone to those athletes that you get? Because I know you don't take everybody, but for
Mm.
athletes that might send you information or send you tapes or send you video or call, what are you guys attracted to about potential clients?
What we look for first of all is like, are you talking about specifically basketball?
Or just
Yeah.
basketball? Let's start with basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, like I work in the basketball division, so that's kind of
Okay.
like my forte. I
Yep.
don't, I've talked to like some of the baseball guys and football guys, but I guess just to reiterate, the question you're asking me is what we look for in a client.
Yes.
Okay, what we look for in a client is like, someone who's family oriented and someone who wants to grow with us, because at the end of the day, like, you know, this frankly like this business is a lot of backstabbing unfortunately, but we don't like to conduct ourselves with that. We like to said to conduct ourselves with like family oriented. So obviously we understand it's a business. You see a different opportunity, you feel like it's better for you, fine, go ahead and take it. But the way we look at it is like, look, we're here for you, and because we're a smaller agency, we can provide more for you, in terms of like not only like you're not on a roster of like 20 other guys, you know you're on the smaller roster of clients, and we're looking out for you, not only you but your family. Like I know Alex, he's done like legal work for families and stuff because he has his own law firm. Like it's not just the basketball side, and so like looking out for clients who want to grow and stuff, like their own personal brand. Like again, basketball is just one facet of this business. A lot of it's marketing and building the brand of the player and your client. And so really we just want to see how personable you are. Are you a good person? Do you give back to the community? The kid we represent, Scoop Smith, he's in high school, but he has an annual, turkey like drive for Thanksgiving. That's something we want to see, because like when when the whole community is supporting you, a whole community of people are supporting you, and you give back, that clearly shows that you're empathetic to the others, and and you appreciate where you come from and stuff. And that's something we really resonate with because again, like starting as a small agency, we want to work our way up and we want to grow together. So like, we really just like to see, I guess from personable traits, like how personal you are, hard worker, loyalty, and all that stuff. From a basketball perspective, this is where we get into more of the like details and stuff. For me, we look at, minutes. Do you play a lot of minutes? Okay. And then we think about how quality those minutes are. So points, yeah, we love points, but I mean, me, coach, I wasn't much of a scorer. I did the dirty work. So I'm looking at assists, I'm looking at turnovers, I'm looking at 3-point percentage, I'm looking at steals, and I'm looking at um, free throw percentage. And this is for guards. Right now, I'm working on guards. Right now in my recruiting thing, and I feel like those attributes, I know they're just stats, but I think those are stats, especially for guards, that you need to have. Like, you can't be having a bad assist to turnover ratio, and you're trying to go take the next step. You like basketball wise, that's just not you're not reliable as a guard. And then with Steph Curry being Steph Curry changed the game. 3-point percentage, you gotta be able to shoot the ball. Um, steals, you gotta affect the game. Even not even just steals, stocks, steals and blocks. If you're like affecting the game not only on the offensive side but the defensive side, then also you have a good assist turnover ratio. You're gonna find a job somewhere. You're a good teammate, good person, played at a solid school, did your thing. If you have all those intangibles, we believe as ProZone, we're gonna recruit you because we think that you're gonna have an opportunity to really play at the next level, wherever you want to go.
Got it. So listen, with the NCAA forever changing with the transfer portal,
Yeah.
how do you keep up with this information? And also, What are your thoughts on the transfer portal? We know it's not going anywhere. So how do you adjust with the forever changes that the NCAA comes with week to week?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm just learning all about the NIL stuff, but the agency actually adjusted really well in terms of it almost helped us a little bit because, players can sign NIL deals with agents or agencies, and this gives us an opportunity, before players go professional, we can make that connection and stuff. And so we've really just adjusted where we recruit players specifically for NIL purposes, Obviously we want to send them overseas and like we want to grow with them, but we understand at the end of the day, they're a big player. They're gonna if we do our job and they see another opportunity where they get paid a bunch of money up front, we see it, we understand that. But we think, NIL deals are or NIL landscape is a great opportunity for college athletes to get the compensation they need, you know, and they deserve, in fact. But yeah, we like especially with football and basketball or football and baseball, we have like connections with like Lululemon. I mean, this ProZone shirt literally has Lulu on it. It was crazy. When I got this, I didn't even expect that. It was, but New Balance, for baseball players, football players, we have. I mean, all players, we have connections to jewelry stores, car dealerships, local restaurants. I was trying to work on an NIL deal for even just a Pitt basketball player because I work at a restaurant and I was just trying to get him, flight marketing promotion for the restaurant. He gets a couple free meals a month or something, a free meal a week. It's just like little stuff like that. We're like, especially in Pittsburgh, we have a lot of connections. And even like outside of Pittsburgh, Alex knows a lot of people and the people that work as agents in the other fields. Like, I don't know them as well, but I've talked to them briefly and they have a lot of connections as well. So the NIL landscape has helped us tremendously with growing our brand. Um, in terms of what I think of the NIL landscape, the transfer portal, I think it was inevitable with college basketball. You look at how much money these guys are bringing into the universities, and I do believe they need to get paid. Like obviously, you're getting a free education, yeah, that's huge, but you got schools bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars and these players weren't touching anything. Like that's not fair to them. A lot of these guys are coming from areas where, they weren't blessed like me, and they really have to work and like they're really trying to make that big step so they can take care of themselves and their family. And if you're in college, playing sports, it ends like that. It as quick as possible. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And, I think guys need to capitalize. And obviously, I think it's a little unregulated right now. It's kind of like the Wild West. I think there needs to be some more regulation. But I'm liking what I'm seeing right now from how college basketball is adjusting. Unfortunately, it's becoming a little bit more professional in terms of like NBA style. Like even I heard like, and I've been reading about how college teams have been implementing like NBA like front office. So they've been like recruiting and stuff. But I think over the next, I would say like 5 years, there's definitely gonna be way more regulation because the problem with NIL money is that you got a school like Robert Morris and and like in the Western PA, and then you got a school like Kentucky. They're not getting the same funding. They're not going to be able to get the same players. Like you look at the SEC right now, and I mean, obviously the Big Ten's big, but the SEC all regular season dominated because like they had what 13 ranked teams or something ridiculous like that. They all those schools have a ridiculous amount of money that they can just pay players. So like the SEC is almost monopolized college basketball, which I don't think is good. I think there needs to be opportunity for all teams to grow, and I think transfer portal is where that happens. I mean, you got a guy who's coming from like a mid major, a kid like Bud Clark. I don't know if you know him. He goes to Merrimack. He played at West Catholic, did his thing. You know, Jameer Brickus, play at LaSalle, going to Nova. It's like it gives you these guys opportunities from a low major, one to get an opportunity, two to get paid, three to get recognized, and then the team benefits. The transfer portal gives an opportunity for these guys, who maybe needed 1 or 2 years to really like, really get into a groove, really understand his play, understand his role, understand his game. And now they're just blossoming into a great player on the next big stage. So yeah, I think everything that's going on is positive. Again, I think there needs to be a little bit more regulation, but I don't doubt it. I think it's a good opportunity for college basketball.
Great. So, Matt, if I'm a high school athlete or a college athlete looking for representation, how do I get in touch with you in ProZone?
Well, I got my Instagram page, ProZone underscore Matt Noch. That's Noch for if anyone understands that one. But yeah, you can look me up on there on Instagram. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. I can send you my LinkedIn stuff. We can put it in the URL or something. And yeah, you can reach out to me there. I can, usually I can get athletes connected with Alex pretty easily. It's hard. He's a busy man. He's representing a lot of athletes. But yeah, like again, if even anyone wants to just talk and just see like, okay, I'm here right now. What do you think is best for me? Like I'm more than willing to help out people. Like, again, still a young guy, but I feel like I'm learning a lot at a quick pace. So I like to say I have some idea, and honestly I'm very good at evaluating the game. I think I have a good feel for it. So yeah, reach out to me, ProZone Matt Knock on Instagram, my LinkedIn page, Matthew Nochumson. Um, Worst case scenario, you can email me. I check my email every day. So, yeah, really, any way we provide, you go ahead and reach out. I'm more than willing to help because at the day, it's just called what goes around comes around. You know, People have helped me get to the spot where I am right now, and I'd be more than willing to help other people get to a better spot than they are right now.
Well, awesome. Hey guys, Matt Nochumson, sophomore at Pitt University, uh, representative of ProZone Athletics. And Matt, I really enjoyed talking to you, man. This is Just Ask Coach, where we interview ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And we really appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time. And let's catch up soon and let's do a part two.
Oh, we're gonna get part two done, Coach. I love this. I know this is my first podcast, so I just appreciate you having me, Coach. I love your whole message of your business. Just ask Coach. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things, but at the end of the day, it's not that extraordinary. We just want to go get it. A go getter
Awesome.
knows a go getter. And
Awesome.
yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to doing this more, man. Like,
Uh,
yeah.
all right. I appreciate you, man. We're going to talk very soon.
All right, I'll see you, Coach.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.